Apple has recently been engaging in the button issue. The giant included a new action button to the iPhone 15 Pro models last year. Now, we have a brand new camera control button all over the iPhone 16 series. Apple appears not to stop here. Reports indicate that the iPhone 17 Pro of next year might include another button. Leaker Majin Bu claims Apple is testing the iPhone 17 Pro using a new button in lieu of the current volume keys. It will also totally eliminate the not very loved action button. Exclusively in 2023, Apple debuted the action button on the iPhone 15 Pro models exclusively. Apple included this button into all 4 iPhone 16 models this year. Additionally, included to the iPhone 16 series this year is a new camera control button developed by the manufacturer. Well, if Apple intends to replace the action button and the volume rockers on the iPhone 17 Pro models in 2024, this is too early to state. On this year's iPhone 16, one of the largest and most buzzed hardware upgrades is camera control. The pre-launch buzz around the camera control makes great reason. It is a dedicated physical shutter button that gives a unique way to operate the iPhone camera owing to its capacitive nature. However, user attitude about the camera control is all over the place. While some users prefer having a separate button for shooting images, others complain that camera control is cumbersome to use and situated in the incorrect spot. Therefore, assuming the combined volume and action button input on the iPhone 17 Pro is capacitive, we hope it is simple to operate, introduces additional intuitive motions for increased usefulness, and is situated at precisely the right area. That stated, we are at the very beginning of the iPhone 16 series lifetime. So any definite information on next year's iPhones will take several months to start coming out. With new buttons also comes the learning curve. If the reported iPhone 17 Pro Action volume button sees the sun, you have to change the volume with a swipe. It won't be a horrible adjustment, but it may not be as straightforward as pushing the volume keys. We could miss the volume buttons like we missed the traditional mute option on the iPhone. By integrating the action button and volume buttons, I believe Apple enhances the overall usefulness. It should feel like an improvement, not simply another unneeded tweak. Anyways, anytime Apple announces any new modifications, people grow acclimated to it with time. It's worth understanding that Majin Bu has a mixed track record, so we take this leak with a grain of salt for now. Also, it's conceivable that Apple is experimenting with numerous design ideas, so there's no assurance that this exact concept will be adopted. Verizon is now suffering a massive outage that is impacting many consumers throughout the US, including iPhone users. Affected customers may be unable to make or receive phone calls, send or receive text messages, or utilize cellular data. As a consequence of the network being down, many impacted iPhone users are seeing SOS flashed in their device's status bar. In a support page, Apple notes that an iPhone shows SOS when the device is not connected to a network, but it should still be able to make emergency calls in the US, Australia, and Canada. In a statement, Verizon said it is aware of an issue impacting service for some customers and working to identify and deploy a repair. With any iPhone 14 model or later, you may utilize Apple's helpful emergency SOS via satellite function to text emergency services while you are in an approved location in the US that lacks cellular and Wi-Fi connection. Apple's A-series CPUs are no slouch, giving some of the greatest smartphone performance available. The A18 Pro Silicon powering the iPhone 16 Pro models has shown to be a very strong performer, as you can see in our iPhone 16 Pro benchmarks. And yet, the A19 chipset you'd anticipate that Apple would employ in the iPhone 17 series might be a significant jump ahead. It might be developed to the 2nm technology, implying a larger transistor density for improved performance and efficiency. Greater efficiency equals reduced power drain, which implies improved battery life. And on that topic, Apple is reported to be making a shift with its iPhone 17 series, producing its own batteries for the first time. The idea is apparently to give significantly improved performance compared to the existing one, which sounds incredibly promising. Analyst Jeff Pugh has predicted the iPhone 17 might come with 8 gigs RAM. However, in a note to investors, Pugh suggested the iPhone 17 Pro models might arrive with 12 gigs RAM, a considerable jump from the 8 gigs featured in the current versions, and presumably an essential bump given Apple's drive into on-device artificial intelligence. Ming-Chi Kuo also expects the higher-end iPhones would contain 12 gigs of RAM. While the iPhone 17 Pro Max model is expected to sport 348 megapixels cameras, nothing has yet been reported regarding the ordinary iPhone 17's rear camera array. That may be because there's no change from the iPhone 16's 48 megapixels main lens and 12 megapixels ultra-wide, or nothing has yet surfaced. We will see. One item that has surfaced is the word for an improvement to the front-facing selfie camera. The analyst Ming-Chi Kuo is forecasting a 24 megapixels selfie camera for the iPhone 17, a major advance over the 12 megapixels true depth cam that's been available since the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It's also suggested that we may see a camera lens with a customizable aperture for the first time on an iPhone. With iPhones, it's very simple to estimate the release date. For more than a decade, every numbered iPhone has been announced in September, barring the iPhone 12, which was pushed back a month due to COVID-19. In other words, it's quite probable the iPhone 17 will be introduced in September 2025, with a release a week or two following. The iPhone 16 definitely matched that pattern, with Apple having a presentation on September 9. The 4 new models enter sale on September 20. The pricing of the iPhone 17 is considerably tougher to lock down this far and ahead. We now know that Apple didn't boost pricing on this year's iPhone models, with the iPhone 16 beginning at $799 and the iPhone 16 Pro Max topping the range at $1,199. For now, we'd expect those pricing would stay in place for the iPhone 17, but a lot can change between now and September 2025. There's rumors of an iPhone 17 Slim replacing the Plus model, which trusted leaker Ice Universe says to be arriving in 2025 with the other versions. More on that as we go ahead, but one price information now. It will be costly, with one source saying it might cost more than the $1,199 Pro Max versions. Next, Apple apparently has a new iPhone SE model in the works, with an eye on launching the phone early next year. However, considering some of the changes being discussed for the iPhone SE 4, I question if this phone will actually be designed in the same spirit as its predecessors. When Apple debuted the first iPhone SE back in 2016, it separated out from the flagship iPhones in 2 major ways. 1, it was tiny, and 2, it was affordable. The original iPhone SE emerged at a period when Apple had begun creating larger smartphones, albeit huge in this instance is a relative descriptor. The iPhone 6 Plus that had come out the previous autumn provided a 5.5-inch display, which would be criticized today as impossibly tiny. With a starting price of $399, the iPhone SE was $250 cheaper than the iPhone 6s, even though it ran on the same A9 chipset. Sizes and costs have gone higher throughout the years. These days, the iPhone SE 2022 has a 4.7-inch screen and a $429 starting price. But the core notion of small phone with a small price tag remains the most unique thing about the cheapest iPhone in Apple's portfolio. It's been evident for some time that the iPhone's days as a tiny phone lover's go-to gadget are limited. More than one iPhone SE 4 rumor indicates the next model to forsake the old iPhone 8 style design with its home button and huge bottom bezel for an iPhone 14 style frame with a notched display. That would demand a jump increase in screen size from 4.7 inches to 6.1 inches. And that's okay. Consumers have made it plain they want larger screen phones, and even while this would be a huge increase for the SE's display, the narrower bezels on this type of iPhone means it would only be a third of an inch taller than the present iPhone SE and less than 0.2 inches wider. That's hardly supersizing stuff. But now it seems as if the iPhone SE 4's pricing may rise as well. And such news is a lot tougher to digest. To be honest, there's nothing official about this supposed iPhone SE 4 price jump. Only a claim from a leaker called Revengness with a solid, if not perfect, record of leaked phone facts. The iPhone SE 4 pricing will soar to $499 when the phone debuts next year. If you want to look on the positive side, that's only a $70 premium over what an iPhone SE now costs. It would also equal the pricing of the Google Pixel 8 and the OnePlus 12R, two of the finest inexpensive phones under $500. That Pixel 8 a comparison would be especially fitting, considering Google's phone includes various AI-powered capabilities. That's likely to be a big priority on the iPhone SE 4 as well, with Apple unlikely to introduce a new model in 2025 that doesn't support the new Apple Intelligence capabilities presently rolling out to its flagship handsets. To enable Apple Intelligence, the iPhone SE 4 would require a substantial amount of RAM and a new processor. That would presumably be the A18 silicon Apple recently unveiled with the iPhone 16, given the firm has a tendency of putting SE versions with a system on chip that debuted in its flagship from the prior autumn. In a way, that's excellent news. You'll be able to obtain top-line performance from a lower-cost iPhone, and you won't lose out on Apple Intelligence, which appears to be a significant priority for Apple and its hardware moving ahead. But the extra horsepower also is likely one of the factors for the iPhone SE price rise, assuming it does in fact materialize. I say one of the culprits because the iPhone SE 4 has been speculated to get additional enhancements as too. It's likely the future phone might receive an OLED display, replacing the LCD screen seen on the current iPhone SE. It's also likely that the lone 12 megapixels primary camera might make way for a 48 megapixel sensor, similar to how Apple improved the main camera on the iPhone 15 last year. All of those things will be great enhancements, but nothing in life comes free. The probable effect would be a more costly iPhone SE now. For a lot of people, paying more for the type of enhancements being mentioned here might be a reasonable trade-off, but it would come at the cost of a rare chance for Apple to undercut the competition on price. Think about that. The business renowned for charging customers the so-called Apple tax, offering a mid-range phone with Apple Intelligence features and an upgraded camera that actually costs less than what Google produces. It may turn out that the Pixel 8 delivers a better experience than the yet-to-be-announced iPhone SE 4 definitely. Google holds a substantial lead in terms of AI capabilities, but that would gain Apple some major PR points with the public. We also need to remember that the iPhone SE has an audience outside of North America. Apple develops the SE to better compete in regions like China and India, where there are a number of low-cost choices for smartphone users. Pushing the iPhone SE 4 pricing higher is a move in the wrong way to win over those areas. And that puts me, the one-time owner of an iPhone SE, in a weird situation, hoping that reports of upgraded hardware and functionality are accurate, but that the logical price jump that would come from those enhancements doesn't materialize. Nearly everything I've heard about next year's iPhone SE sounds great. I just hope Apple doesn't do it at the cost of one of the elements that made the first iPhone SE so compelling in the first place. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information on the iPhone 17 series. Thanks for watching.